Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, good morning. It is, what day is today? It's Wednesday, hump day, middle of the weekday.
Yes, it is.
Or as the camel said in the Geico ads, hump day. Geico, send me your $100 donation. We'll accept gladly.
Correct. That was a good impression of a camel. Impressive.
You know what I mean, though, right? You've seen the ad.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Hey, Tom, I've got a really weird technical question.
What's that?
I am looking at your page on Facebook right now, and I do not see this fine program there.
Interesting.
I thought you would like that.
How did I miss that? I wonder if I can.
I don't know. I'm just pointing
that without messing everything up.
Go for it. Let's live dangerously. We can always start over.
I think it worked. Look at that technology.
Okay, let me see if it's there. Sorry, folks. There's some logistics to this. I still don't see it, but maybe
it'll pop up. Give it a minute or two.
Okay.
Go up.
Because I actually forwarded it. There it goes. Now it's there.
People will miss whatever just happened. We can start all over again, but we won't do that. Anyhow, everyone, good morning. This is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast where we try to provide one thing and a little humor, I think. Bad, but a little. We try to provide one thing to help you move forward along your own unique pathway to success. And each week we talk about a topic. This week's topic is stepping away. And then every day we'll have something that we're focusing on about that topic. We would love it if you would share your thoughts, your comments about the topic or the conversation that we're having. And at the end, Bob and I will share our one thing to help you today, or maybe it'll help you down the road somewhere else. And we hope that you will also share your one thing, because we know that when we share the value that we have, we share what is real with each of us, it helps someone else enhance their knowledge, experience, and perspective. So I hope that you will share that. And before we dive into that, Bob, do you want to tell us about, because I feel like you need a little energizer moment.
Hey, can we talk about that? Can we talk about the 90 days?
We can talk about whatever you want.
I would love to talk about 90 days.
All right, go for it.
All right. Hey, folks, are you trying to figure out what's going on, how to get where you want to go? You've tried things and they haven't worked. You want to talk to people about it, but the people you want to talk to, they just aren't going to listen, or they're going to consider you a knucklehead if you tell them what's really going on. Yes, a knucklehead. You should see Tom's face when I say these things. We have this program, the Find Your Renegade Way in 90 Days program. Yes, 90 days. We want to help you figure out your pathway forward. We want to help you figure out exactly what's standing in your way. Overcome a block, overcome a stumbling block, get from a place where you've been to where you want to go. You may say 90 days isn't enough. Oh no, we have a system. Tom and I have a powerful system that will drive you towards results. And we're seeing that happen again and again. So if you want to know more, put a comment in there, chat with Tom or me, or go to our Renegade. What the heck is the name? I totally blanked out. RenegadeSuccessNetwork.com. I am struggling this morning.
Woo!
And look at programs and you'll see the 90-day program. I can't tell you how much you can achieve in 90 days. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. And even if it's summer and you go, I can't do this over summer, it sounds great. Oh, we can make it work over the summer. I promise you, we can fit it around your vacation, your kid's schedule, whatever's getting in your way, because some of those things are actually what are getting in your way.
Absolutely. And I think summer is one of the most difficult times to stay focused on what you want to achieve. And so the opportunity to have some guidance, some accountability, and someone who's going to ask the right questions to help you figure out what is your next step and how will you move forward along your own unique pathway to success. So I hope that if you are interested, you can even put in the comments, put 90 days in the comments, and one of us will reach out to you to talk more about what this looks like. And I think what Bob shared is true. It's kind of like the way we talk about our one thing. I think for both of us, we believe that there are steps along the pathway, and taking those steps, whatever they may be, usually smaller, is going to help you get to where you want to go. It doesn't have to be huge leaps and bounds, but when you take a lot of those little steps, you get a little further along the way. It's one of the reasons we believe, and what is a keystone of the program, is our laser solution sessions, so that when you do get stuck, and usually you're stuck on something, we can help you find what is the next step that is going to get you unstuck, stop the overwhelm, frustration, and help you move forward. And I think that is really the key of it, is how do you think about where you want to go and where you want to be at the end of the summer with your business or with your team or your organization. And so often I think we think about those things and we don't believe they're possible. One of the things that I think Bob and I really value and instill in others is that if they say this is what you want to achieve, we believe it, and we're going to do everything we can to help you get to there. So we hope that if you are interested, let us know. We'd be happy to talk with you more about that program. Or as Bob said, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com and you can go to programs, search for Find Your Renegade Way in 90 Days, and you'll get much more information. So
I also put the link in the chat because I was going to make it easy for people.
Because I was talking long and you were like, you had plenty of time to do that.
I did my mortgage closing while you were talking. No, you were saying great stuff. We're a powerful 1-2 punch. So let's talk about the idea of stepping away, because at this point, most people would prefer that you and I step away from the microphones, man.
It's possible. Yes. So we've been talking all week about stepping away. Monday, we talked a little bit about what it means. Yesterday, because in Monday's conversation, we talked about like the small stepping away, those things you might do every day, as well as the bigger stepping away and refocusing. And so today, what we want to talk a little bit about, even though I forgot to put the slide up at the start of the show, so nobody knew what the topic is. The topic
I don't either.
Well, that's right. It's even funnier.
I've been waiting for you to tell me the topic all morning.
So the topic is when you don't. I think
when you don't step away.
Correct. And
when you don't by itself is kind of hard to follow, but when you don't step away, that's good.
Well, isn't our topic of the week stepping away?
It works that way, but it didn't connect for me in my head. It's all good. Don't you want to hit the erase button and start all over?
Nope. It's what's real. And honestly, I think that's okay. That's the way it's meant to be, and we'll figure it out. So why don't you talk a little bit about your thoughts about when you don't step away, Bob?
Okay, Ned, I've had a lot of time to prepare. So being serious, when you don't step away, you tend to get into trouble with what you're thinking and what you're doing. And what happens for me is if I work 2 weeks straight, like Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then the next Monday to Friday, in that second week, I get a little edgy. I will make sarcastic comments that are more sarcastic and more biting. I will make decisions that are not as well thought out. I will dig a hole for myself. And I've seen this pattern play out a number of times in my career. And that's why I'm so adamant about taking a day off each weekend and trying to build in time to get away. And, it's no secret I play golf every Friday afternoon right now. I struggle with that. I struggle with taking that time away. I do every single week. I feel guilty about it. I feel like it's not the best way for me to use my work time, but it's been really valuable for me in a lot of ways, from the networking perspective, from the getting away from the day-to-day and having time to think. I'm lucky enough to play with people often who can provide insights and information to me that on a golf course, I can see it differently. And I think those are the benefits. And the drawbacks are, if I didn't have that time away, I don't think I'd be able to come up with some of the things that we've come up with. You know, you and I have the 90-day program is a perfect example where we talked to people, we were going along on our way, and then it was like, hey, what about a 90-day program? Heck, that would really, that might work. And I think having that environment where you can innovate, where you can solve problems, where you can listen to your customers and move forward, you've got to step away from what you're doing day to day. If you're constantly making the widgets, you can't step back and go, man, I do the same thing 5,000 times a day. I wonder if there's a way to automate that. Or I wonder if there's a way to get someone to do that for me who that's all they do. And I pay them a fee to do that thing. And that's off my plate. And that's what you and I help a lot of people with when we're working with them. It's like, how can we get you to be the most efficient, the most effective? And when we ask the people the questions, that's when they start to think about it. But that's when they're forcing themselves, oh, I got to do a meeting with Tom or Bob. And I don't think we routinely do that in our lives. Go, hey, you know, I'm going to take 2 hours, step away from my work, put on some nice music, and just whiteboard. One of my clients uses a whiteboard, and it was funny. I said, oh, you have a whiteboard. You should whiteboard this plan you're trying to put together. He took an afternoon whiteboarded, and he texted me afterwards. He's like, that was the most freeing thing I've ever done in my life. I'm like, what do you mean? I called him, and he said, I could erase things. I could line things up. And he had a whole new understanding of this big, complex issue because he stepped away. He took no phone calls. He didn't interrupt himself. He literally, for 4 hours, locked the door and just had a blank whiteboard. And I said to him, just envision whatever.
Yeah.
Just let it flow. And we can't let it flow when we're so busy making it happen.
No doubt. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest challenges is we work hard and long thinking that is the solution to the challenges that we face. Well, if I just keep making the widgets, I'm going to see what's going on. If I just keep, talking at my team, they are going to figure it out. And it's, the thought is that by doing it more, you're going to find the change that you need. And I think sometimes by doing it less is the opportunity to see something differently. It's interesting. We've had conversations with people about doing VIP days and the value of that and the value of getting away from it. And I think, talking about stepping away doesn't mean that you're not thinking about your business. You're not thinking about your team or your organization. It means you're just not doing it in the way that you always do it. You're not just always at your desk, looking at your computer, doing it. You're not always out in the field or in your store selling whatever the product or widget is that you have. You're not always, servicing your clients. That you are stepping away from whatever the norm is to take the opportunity to look differently at the way that you are doing it. And when you don't, you just continue along the same pathway. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that organizations have is it's the phrase that I hate the most is that we've always done it that way. Yeah. Okay. Because no one has ever stepped back to say why. And might there be another way to do it that might be more effective, efficient, and profitable for your organization? And I think that idea that this is just the way we do it. So we're just going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And then we never step away to say, maybe it's not as effective and efficient as we thought. And if we don't take the time to do that, that's when I think our organizations become obsolete and our product is not as effective as it used to be. If Apple just said, you know what, we're just going to keep making iPhones exactly the same way we always made them. At some point, they would still have a flip phone while everybody else was now being able to have a computer in their hand. And I think those are the when we don't step away, we don't take the time to figure out how we might do it differently.
I have a company that I've done 3 sets of presentations for, and I was talking to them yesterday. They just merged, and I was explaining what I do to the new people in my contact. And they were like, well, Bob, what are some of the values you think you bring to us when you do these things? Like, well, new information, new ways to look at their work. And then I said, and frankly, your organization is running so fast and so hard, and you have so many young people that having them spend 90 minutes with me is a paid opportunity for them to clear their heads. And my contact said, it's really funny, Bob. I've been at like executive meetings the week after you've spoken to our employees, and they're all talking about, we figured this new thing out. We figured this new thing out. Someone came up with a great idea for something. And he said, it's every time I present to his company. And the solution is not around what I present. It's just they had the time to get away from the minute to minute to hear this guy talk about time management, to talk about becoming a leader, more effective leader, those things. And when they could get away from the minute by minute, I've got to do this, they started to think about things. And I can see it on the Zoom screen.
Sure.
You can see people and they're like checked out a little bit, and you're like, oh, are they paying attention to me? They're thinking about problems in new ways. I sparked something in them. And that's what we need. That's why when I was leading teams, I would always send people to conferences.
Sure.
Because it was just a chance to, like, you're in the plane, you're thinking about work because you're getting paid, but you're not thinking about work. And then you're at the conference and you're talking to people. And I think we have to do that. If you're a small company, if it's one employee, you have to find ways to foster that environment.
Sure. Well, you think about the pandemic has really been an opportunity for people to step away from the norm, and I think that as we look back on what the norm was, we see lots of issues, challenges, things that nobody ever thought about, ways that people were being impacted by the way we were doing work before the pandemic, that now that we've stepped back from it, we've been able to see. And so think about the changes that will happen in terms of maybe being more appreciative of what people have going on in their lives and how that impacts the way they're able to do work. And how will that look at going forward? It's almost like the universe was saying to the work world, something's messed up and you need to try to figure it out, because the way you are going is the way we were just doing things the way we always have done. And now we need to think about doing them a little bit differently. It was almost like a self-imposed universe said, we need to pause. We need to look at things differently. We need to do things differently. And because you're not willing to do it, the universe said, I'm going to make you do it. And guess what? You're going to have a year where things don't look at all like they used to look like. And you are going to have to step away from the norm because you weren't taking the time to figure it out and fix some of those things that had been right in front of you, but nobody took the time to notice them because they did not step away.
When we had the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009, think of some of the companies that came out of that. DoorDash, Uber. Who would have thought that, I can just picture people going, yeah, you're stuck with taxi cabs.
Right.
And what about Uber and Lyft and all that? No, that won't work. And so we have these, I think what we're going to see in the next couple of years is great innovation, because people looked at the world differently. And it's going to, you watch the next 2-3 years, it's going to be exponential innovation in so many fields.
Well, people talk about it like with schools. Well, why do you now need a snow day?
Right.
We've not figured out how you can have class. Not that anyone has perfected it, although I would imagine there are some teachers who have gotten really good and really effective in educating over Zoom or Teams or whatever they're using. And we would have never figured that out. And, so I think that those opportunities exist. We just have never taken the moment to step back and try to figure it out.
It's amazing how when we're forced to solve a problem, we'll solve it. And if we could force ourselves to get away, we could solve problems more quickly. I want to bring some comments in. Tim says, there used to be a time when I worked every day. Not only was I miserable, but I made a lot of mistakes and constantly felt frustrated by the simplest things. Since taking time to step away and letting my mind reset, not only am I much more satisfied in my business, but the frustrations and challenges of everyday life affect me less. It's exactly right. I mean, that's what I think we're seeing. And that's something that's hard for me. If you had said this to me 5 or 10 years ago, I would have laughed at you. I would have been like, no, I'm an entrepreneur. I've got to have my nose to a grindstone every minute, every day.
5 to 10 years ago?
Okay, 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Folks, this is why you want to work with people that don't know you for a long time.
Correct. That's the challenge of having 341 conversations every day, and others on top of that, where people know you a little better than you think, and you can't just make random comments that you're not going to get called out on.
That's fair. Well, Tom, we're at that point. This is the point. And if someone doesn't know, if you're new to this, this is where we try to come up with one thing, what we call today's antidote. Yeah, I knew that comment was coming up.
Sorry.
Who provided that, Scott? That would be Tim. There you go. Okay. I see how we're going today. So, Tom, it's that point where we go through the one thing. What that one thing is that we can think about today that we might be able to implement. It's a thought, a suggestion, an idea, or a new way of looking at things so that we can take this whole idea of stepping away and what happens when we don't step away and think about it in a new way.
Yeah, I'm going to use a little example. So there was a time when I was working for a university where I had moved, we couldn't sell our house. And so I was in the area all by myself and literally was working first thing in the morning until way late at night. And what I found was I was forgetting things. Like I couldn't recall names or facts or whatever. And it was because I didn't step away. I was so focused. I thought that I had to be there every minute of every day because I had so much to do and so many things to accomplish and felt like we were always way behind. And what I have since realized was not only was I less productive, I was not effective. And that had I taken the moments to step away and discover some other things, I think I would have found new solutions. And not that things didn't go well, and not that we didn't have successes, and there were, good things that happened. And at the same time, I know I was not at my peak performance, mentally, physically, any of those things, because I had not given myself the ability to step away. And I just kept doing things the way I had always done them, which, I know is not always in the best interest. So I think that if you are at that point where you feel like you're just not being as effective as you could be, you're not finding those solutions or recalling those things that you might want to really consider stepping away and taking a chance to just release your mind from all the things you're doing and think about not working harder, but try to work more effectively. And that stepping back can make a significant difference in your ability to do that.
I like that a lot. I think what I would say is that's the key. There's not really much more to say. And stepping away can be for 5 minutes. It can be for 5 hours. It can be for 5 days.
Absolutely.
All of them are acceptable. And I think if we could get to a place where we all agree that it's okay to step away for whatever time you need, we'd be much better at achieving what we're all trying to achieve.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for your comments and your thoughts and participating in today's conversation. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to add your one thing, please feel free to put it in the comments. You can also share it inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If you are not yet a member, just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can join our growing community where people, leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners are trying to find their next step along their own unique pathway to success. It is a private group, so you're going to have to ask to join. And then we just have to tell us why you're a renegade. And then you can become a part of this growing community that is helping one another find their way. And, as we briefly sort of mentioned, if you're feeling like your organization is stuck or you're stuck and you just can't figure out what's next and you've just had your nose to the grindstone and can't figure out a better way, the 90-day Find Your Pathway or Find Your Renegade Pathway might be for you. And there might also be a value in doing a VIP day with Bob and I, where we will sit down with you for about 4 hours and walk through, do that whiteboarding process that Bob discussed to help you get to where you want to go, to figure out what are those challenges you can't overcome, and to just see things in a different light that may help you significantly improve where you're at with your organization. So we hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. And here's some further information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Have a great day, everyone.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next